Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So, just recently, Christian Keys got back onto the internet and he sat down, had a little interview, if you will, and he was talking about his childhood, his life. And it was very sad, once again, broke everybody's hearts. It was very sad him talking about the abuse that he suffered as a child from his own mother. Now, it's really messed up, when you're an adult and you go through abuse, but it's another level of messed up when you've already had to deal with abuse, especially from people in your own family, the people who you should be able to trust. But then you have to grow up and you're trying to deal with that and process it and heal. And then you also have to deal with abuse, trauma, harassment in your adult life. Now, some people might think that this is going to sound crazy, but I'm still going to say it anyways because it might actually enlighten somebody. What some people don't understand is there are people out there, like when I say that they're wicked, that's just not even a word to describe accurately how awful they really are. Some people are not only abusers, but they know how to identify victims, people who have been abused. It's almost like, I don't want to say a countenance that's on certain people, especially if they don't get the help, but also with the way some people act. Like you can tell somebody who's been a victim of abuse by how they act sometimes, the characteristics that they have, their mannerisms, almost even their personality. And there are some people who look for people that display and exhibit those signs. Even certain spirits are involved with this, whether anybody wants to believe that or not. And they will find these people and say, oh yeah, they've been abused. They're vulnerable. I can take advantage of them. They probably already feel like, well, I've already experienced so much. Like, I guess I just have to keep dealing with it. Some people really think that after they've been abused so much, especially in their younger years, that this is just the way life is. That they have to just take the abuse from everybody because that's all that they're worth. That's all that they can get. But it's not. And they don't have people around them, unfortunately, to tell them that. To tell them they are worth more than somebody abusing them. That they can have relationships where they are not abused. Although, like I said, there are some very heinous people out here in this world who know how to identify abuse victims, people who have been through a lot of trauma, and they target them even more so. And even he said this in a separate, well, in that same interview, if I'm not mistaken, that basically he feels like him being traumatized and abused as a child growing up, it put a target on his back in Hollywood. And I do believe that those people up there in Hollywood, they do look at people, they look for people, and they say, they've been abused. So they're probably more likely to take the abuse, to deal with it. Or they'll probably have this mindset where they're like, well, I've been through it before. At least this time I can get paid for it. Or I can get perks for it, clout for it. Like I said, I do very much believe that those people in Hollywood like to prey on people who have been abused before. But anyways, he was talking about going through the system, how Child Protective Services have really just messed people over, how they dropped the ball so many times with him. And there have been people who have been saying this over and over and over again, that Child Protective Services have done a horrendous job with protecting these kids, helping them, making sure they get in the right places, that they're not being abused. It would almost seem like they don't care enough, or at all, really. That maybe sometimes they want some of this stuff to happen because you can't drop the ball that many times that badly when it comes to these kids. Unfortunately, some of these children have met their untimely demise because of how badly CPS has dropped the ball. He talked about how his first adopted mother was, and he said, I quote, incredibly abusive. That she would get her hands on anything, household objects, that should not be used towards another human being, to basically abuse him with. And that if he didn't make a certain sound, a certain scream, which that's another level of heinous, that's another level of just disgusting. That's psychopathic, if you ask me. But if he didn't make a certain sound, that she would hit them harder in a different way. He even talked about how she made him walk down the street with no clothes on in the rain. At 9 years old, to ask for a magazine from their neighbors as punishment. The sad part is there are a lot of these individuals who have children, who have adopted children, that want to conflate and pervert the difference between discipline and punishment. I understand as a parent, it is your job to discipline your child when they do something wrong, Okay, you don't know how to use the phone for the right things. You get onto bad websites, give me the phone. That's discipline. But there is a clear and obvious difference between discipline and abuse. We should know that. Everybody should know that. We should all have the common decency and common sense to understand and not make excuses for grown individuals who are putting children through blatant abuse. I don't know who that was for or who needed to hear it, but I needed to get it off my chest anyways. He also talked about how he ran away multiple times from the age of, if I'm not mistaken, 8 or 9 to like 12. How he got really good at running away and basically living on the streets because the abuse was so bad, until eventually CPS got him and put him into a home that they actually took care of him and treated him right. And he was saying that, like, they would give him a lot of chores, but he didn't even care. He was just happy to be somewhere safe in a non-toxic environment, in an environment that was not abusive. He said that they loved him, that they treated him right, that they taught him how to be a man, how to be responsible. And the only bad thing was that he had grew up with an adoptive brother that he didn't get to get adopted to that second family with. And that's one thing that always bothered me a lot about these adoption things. Whenever there are children who come together, whether they are biologically siblings or not, I don't think it's a good thing to separate them. That's very traumatic, because then you grow up, what happens if one of them ends up in a bad situation and the other one doesn't? So now both of them are wondering, okay, is that other person, is that other sibling okay? Where are they? What's become of them? Nobody should have to live their life like that. That's a horrible thing to have to go through, to have to live with growing up. Now, if I'm not mistaken, he did say he didn't meet him, I want to say like 10, 11 years after the fact, but still. And I get it, sometimes people go to adopt these kids and they're like, okay, I can take care of one, but I can't take care of two, I can't take care of three, I can't take care of 4 or 5. But still, at the same time, that needs to be considered during the adoption process when handling these children. As I said a multitude of times throughout my videos on my channel, I am an advocate for the kids. They didn't ask to be here. Look out for them. Treat them with, respect and care as they deserve. Of course, discipline them and help them understand the right way to go. But don't be out here mishandling them and hurting them. There's a lot of hurt people who hurt people, but there's no excuse for anybody taking out their trauma or how they feel because they don't like their life or whatever's going on in their life out on anybody, especially a child. It's unacceptable. I feel like this is another moment as well to acknowledge that people need to treat people right, point, period, blank. Don't be out here taking advantage of people. Don't be out here being mean, rude, and disrespectful to people. Don't disparage people. Don't stereotype them. Don't stigmatize them, because you don't know what they've already been through, what they've had to live through. Don't judge them. Don't be jealous or envious over anything anybody has. Because again, you don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they've gone through just to be who they are, to have what they have, to be where they are in their life. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people, they'll look at the surface level. I always say that. I condemn looking at the surface level. It's just a raggedy thing to do. But there'll be people that'll look at him and say, oh, he's a good looking guy. He's got enough going for him. He's got money. He's doing better than most people. Why should we feel any kind of way for him? Once again, this man has been through hell all throughout his life. Just because he smiles and he doesn't talk about it all the time, that shouldn't make anybody think he hasn't been through anything. And even with the whole attraction thing, because like I said, everybody's been talking about that, how good looking of a guy he is. Well, guess what? There are pros and cons that come with being an attractive person. You're attractive, but then you've got to deal with people constantly bothering you. There might be somebody who has some kind of respect and boundaries and they're mature. They'll say, hey, I want to mess with you. I'm sorry, I don't want to mess with you. Okay, that's too bad. And they'll go cry about it in the corner, but they'll let it go. But then you have the people like who he's been harassed by, who won't take no for an answer, and they feel like they're entitled to you because of what their money, what they look like, who they are, their fame. So once again, people need to treat people right, do people right, and not make assumptions, surface level assumptions, because you never know what somebody's going through behind closed doors, what they've been through in their life. But anyways, y'all let me know what y'all think and how y'all feel down in the comments below respectfully. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all all have a very blessed, safe, and blessed day.